So
Um,
today on Country Pocket, we have a really different one. The album from Mama Zoo is Quilt Floor, um, but instead of having Mama Zoo herself on, we have Linwood here. He was her bandmate, and he released the album quite a few years posthumously. Um, Tell me about Jesse.
um, yeah, that's a big question, but just like a dear friend, um, like a best friend that you have and you also play in bands with, you know? Um, Super funny, super kind of cartoonish, like she's somebody that could go from uh speaking on a topic that's very serious, and being very passionate about something into like a character perhaps. um just a person that, a lot of fun to be around and somebody that like you can learn with and also laugh a lot with, which is like a good sign, you know.
So you had a band before Mama Zoo um, that fell through, but you stuck with Jesse.
Yeah, she and I, for better or for worse, we stuck together. And sometimes I even think, I'm like, I wonder if she had in the past, like if we would have split up in the make it. Like you don't know what would happen or what wouldn't happen. Um, we got along well enough, I guess, to get things done. And like she's always like a person I feel like we never like fully turn our backs on each other. You know what I mean? Like she's just in a way we were like family, you know? Um you're stuck with each other.
Tell me, tell me about the way you worked together and made music.
Um I mean, uh she wrote a lot of songs, and super productive person. And we would collaborate a lot. And like on this batch of songs, it was kind of a situation where she might start um a song with some words and then make a little phone demo, maybe just like singing a verse and a chorus with what the presumptive chords of the song might be, and then send it to me. And then I would try to flesh something out of it, I guess. Um, and then kind of make a demo of the song with parts, and it's kind of like, hey, what if we did it kind of like this. And then she would either be like, yeah, this is great, or no, I don't think so. um but then we would take those demos and then build upon them. Because at the moment working on this stuff, like we didn't have a band or anything, so we couldn't just have a band practice necessarily where everybody's playing and you can um work on it in real time. um so we would do a lot of pre-production, I guess, and build things out that way. So when we went into the studio, we had like a pretty good idea on what we were going to do.
Um, did you wind up singing on one of the tracks?
Yeah, I sing on Four Leaf Clover. And what's funny, sometimes people text me and ask me who's singing on that song, which I feel like it would be obvious, right? It would be me, but there are other people that do sing on some of the other songs. Um, but yeah, that's me. I don't like to sing anymore or be the front person. or even close to it. And I don't know. I guess we did that because that's a cover song actually, and Rhett Miller is like kind of doing a duet with Exene Cervenka in that. So like by default, somebody else had to sing, I guess.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So it took a long time for this album to come out. Jesse passed in 2017.
Yeah, September.
So what what is it that finally got you to come around and finish the album?
Um, I mean, I've said this before, like at first, um, or when she passed away, the record was kind of at a point where like it wasn't finished, but like um rough mixes were getting done, and like things were kind of taking shape in a way to where you can kind of see the finish line in a sense. But then after she died, I just kind of like I tried to work on it for a second, and then it wasn't fun, I guess, and it felt a little forced. And then I ended up going on tour with people and just getting too busy for a while after that. And then you know, time seems to go by really quickly sometimes. Um, but then basically I started working on it again, like I guess it was in 2021, and then kind of, I mean, this is really stupid, but at the end of 2020, I was like, all right, I'm gonna start again because I felt like at that point there'd been enough time, and like um I was starting to actually listen to some of the songs. If I was like going for a jog or something, like I might put a couple of songs on a playlist just to be like kind of get back in touch with it and see what it actually sounded like. And um one night I was walking my dog. This is like kind of around Christmas time 2020, and somebody's dog was just out, and it was a big dog. I don't remember what it was. And the dog kind of came at us and they were fighting, and in the middle of it, uh my hand got smashed. And so then I broke my finger. It's actually, I think it's going to be crooked for the rest of my life. I did physical therapy. I literally did everything that I could have done, I guess, to fix it. Um it works fine though. It just looks weird. But anyway, I broke this finger in two places. And so then I couldn't really do anything with his hand for like 2.5 months basically. And then I started physical therapy after that. So working on a computer was hard, and I couldn't play guitar or bass. I could play keyboard with just with this hand, and could could use my thumb to play bass. But basically I was like, all right, I can't really get anything done for a while. And that was frustrating because like I was truly ready to work at that moment, and I had time to do it too. And so then anyway, I started working on it again, like in later in the spring, I guess. And that's when I started to get a little busy again. Like uh Lil Kakani started recording at that point. And I was an artist named Tristan, whom I also play with. She had a record that was coming out in summer, and there was just other stuff going on. And then by that fall, I was going back on tour a lot. So I kind of like I would just work on it a couple days at a time when I had time. So like sometimes I'm like, yeah, there was a lot of time between like when we started it and when it came out, but the actual time I'd spent working on it in between was like probably not that much. And then um I I got it mastered in 2022. This is like how absurd this is kind of the way it always is. Like you finish something, and then unless you're fast tracked or unless you're like a superstar, or unless you just want to put it out yourself and not care. I mean, there's usually like a year at the at the bare minimum before you finish something and it actually coming out. And with this, it seemed more advantageous to put it out during the first quarter of a year. So basically, God, I mean, do the math on that. It's like almost 2 years seemingly between when it was finished and then when it was actually out, which is really excruciating if you're in my boat where you're like you get over all these little speed bumps and some traumas, and stuff along the way, and then you're like, okay, it's done, it's great. Uh no one's gonna hear it for like a very long time, but you know, a lot of bands go through I feel like I've seen a lot of stories too of like people who have put out stuff recently, like of records they started in 2020. Like maybe Brittany Howard's record, I think she started working on songs then. Um, some
Well,
people just like working at their own pace though, It's nice.
I guess when you don't
All
have a tour to go on, that
yeah.
doesn't doesn't exactly rush. Was there any emotions holding you back from working on the album?
Yeah, I kind of uh like I I did therapy probably for 2 years, and everything I did wasn't even about the grief I was experiencing. It was more just like a lot of the problems that I've probably had since I was a kid that like when I was younger weren't really noticeable. And then I feel like maybe when you go through something and then life gets turned upside down on its head, and then there's a pandemic. Um, a lot of the cracks start to get bigger and bigger. Um, and anyway, it's like I noticed like when I was doing therapy, I started in 2020, I think, and I was talking about that. It would just come up a lot, like things that I want to get done, I guess, or things that like are a part of me kind of clearing a lot of the dust. Man, that's a bad way to describe something. But like uh there was like a hump for me initially of just working on it. It just seemed like there was a lot of stuff to do, and it was just me, basically that was going to try to corral everything. And so that was like a little troublesome. But then like yeah, when you open the sessions up and start to work, um it's like it's different than if you're just working on something that doesn't have like a that kind of component with it. But like in a way, you build some. I struggle with this. I don't know about you or other people, but like something that seems like it's going to be daunting sometimes, I will build it up as if it's going to be way worse than it actually is. And it's like I would get a little stressed out just about um, what the toll might be of having to suffer through something that's going to make you feel things um, when you're just trying to get some work done. But like I would get over it pretty quickly. It's like you put the song on and then some feelings will come back and and maybe it'll bring some tears, but at the same point it's like the joy of everything was bigger than everything else. Um So it was pretty enjoyable at a certain point because it's like you're spending, it's like, well, this is one way I can kind of spend time with somebody that's gone. Um, and the just the drive of like getting this project to completion, um, just uh I was more focused on that at some point than anything else. So you kind of compartmentalize everything. But yeah, there it is like it's kind of funny having something like that at play because when any other record that I've been a part of or made, it's um you're not you're just going into it and the only thing that you're thinking about is the songs. and you're in the moment like 100%. And with this, it was like you getting drawn back in time working on it. Because like I'm listening to the songs and like literally thinking back to the days when it was happening. Um, which is brings you a lot of different feelings. But like, it was a great experience, like as daunting as it felt at times. I don't know what else I would have been doing with that time either. So
Well, let's hear Capital Kind, and we'll be right back.